And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mr. BoomStick XL. And as you can see, this panel, bunch of very small people, but they're really big in size in real life. We have a stacked panel, talent on every corner of today's podcast, and two very, very special guests that are joining us. Cannot wait to get into it, folks. We have obviously, by the advertising, you see we're going to be talking about Game Pass. Jeff Grubb had some things to say regarding a potential price reduction in some countries and potentially a price increase. He didn't say when. We're going to talk about when that is going to happen. And I got to be honest with you, I think that it's almost expected at this point for a price increase, simply because, I mean, the inherent value of play of what we play right now, there's nearly 500 games, and it just seems to keep growing. We just had Back for Blood drop in there, and that is obviously going to be a huge multiplayer game. It's by the same team that brought us Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, which is both iconic releases on the Xbox 360. And obviously, we haven't even gotten into the real weeds, so to speak, of Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite releasing both in November and December, respectively. And it's going to be, again, it's a conversation that I think we're going to have. We're going to have an adult conversation about it. I know that through the socials, I upset a few people. A lot of people got into their feelings. Folks, listen, it's okay to love your brand, but you gotta tune in for the conversations before you start saying rude things. Because obviously, when I write these shows, it's to have a conversation, certainly not to flame anybody. And if you're one of these knuckleheads that get all in their feelings about a conversation, then I suggest go take 5 minutes, take off the Pampers, and put on the big boy pants and come back to the show. And we'll talk about it like men. But let's get into the introductions, and we're going to start first with someone that I think you might know. He released a little game that I think is going to be in the running for Game of the Year in many circles, and he doesn't think so, which is ridiculous. Song of Iron creator Joe Winters, welcome to the program, dude.
Hey man, how's it going? Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Joe, you're a very humble man. This is what we love about you. Your game came out. I think it took the world by storm, and it's pretty incredible to see a title that you brought to life through a pen and paper game known as D&D to fruition. It's something to really be proud of, and I could not be happier to have been a part of that journey.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been crazy. I'm just now like relaxing a little bit and taking some time to play games again and all that stuff. So there's a lot more to come, of course, but I try to not kill myself. So
yes, absolutely. And we will be covering everything that you have to announce later on, and we'll have you back on the show to talk about that.
Always,
looking forward to that. And of course, not to be outdone, not to be taken out of the talent conversation. This is someone that I have known for years. I don't necessarily know if we'll ever meet, and that's a shame because he seems to be one heck of a community member. But he is, more importantly, my God, one of the best artists that I know personally. And of course, I'm talking about the Xbox Pope Art. How the heck have you been? Thank you so much for joining us. And my God, you keep bringing all of these designs to life, and it really is amazing to see.
I'm doing all right. You're only talking about shall we meet? Well, if you just look out your window there, I'm actually behind your window.
Hello, how you doing? This is great. I love it.
I'm waiting for Mrs. Boom's cakes.
Oh, she does, because she's a good baker, man, and more so than that, she knows how to put her foot in it. That's for sure. Pardon my Metal Gear Solid thing going off. That was my phone that's charging. I will get to that. The most unprofessional host. But let's get into the rest of the panel. Pope, listen, obviously, you got some things that we talked about behind the scenes. I'm super excited for you. I will say this publicly. I've known you for many years. I know that there's been a significant amount of up and downs, and you are well deserving of the success that is not only coming your way, but you'll be able to talk about at a later date. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
definitely.
program, my friend.
I mean, all I can say is my little brush will be turning blue,
I love it.
and my little brush will be turning red. So there's two big, huge partnerships I'm kind of doing. So I don't know if them colors signify anything, but
Well, you know what? I know that you're limited to as what you can say. I will say that I look forward to helping promote whatever it is that you're going to be doing, because, like I said, you're one of the best in the business, and not only that, you're a nice guy, and it's really refreshing to have the nice guys win. That's just my opinion on
definitely, yeah.
it.
And it's, we'll all get the bits of hate and whatnot, especially when
that comes that
when you're growing, it's even worse.
yes.
The heat is definitely on you. But at the end of the day, I'll still be the same guys if I only had one follower. They're just numbers. I much prefer people than numbers.
Yes, 100%. No, obviously, it's all about the people, which is why we do what we do. But let's continue with the introductions. And next up is the cog, that keeps this show running, the bravest man in gaming, known as Zemi Games. How you doing there, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Dude, I am just absolutely loving the heck out of me some Far Cry.
Oh, isn't it so good?
Oh, it's so good. Oh my God, I'm loving it. But no, super excited to be here as always, Boom. And let's keep going with these intros, man. We got tons of people.
And as a matter of fact, me and Zemi are going to team up after the show to get a couple of achievements on taking down a base as co-op. I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
Folks, listen, all I can say is this before I continue with the introductions. If you are a Far Cry fan, and we know who we are, right? We there's a certain Far Cry that we expect. They have delivered that and a bag of chips. If you are a fan of the brand, if you're a fan of the franchise, they did tremendous amount of services, and there's none cuter in the entire planet than Chorizo, which is a dog in the game. He is adorable. I know that Mav's wife saw some. I think he had like a Christmas outfit, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's freaking cool. But listen, let's continue with the introductions. And Mav, welcome back to the program, brother. How the heck are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. It's awesome to be here with Joe and Pope. 3-Bit makes his
triumphant
return
return.
The Xbox Factor podcast. My God.
This is damn near a takeover of the Magnificent Seven. All we need is one of the guys and the girls to jump in, and you guys have taken over the program.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Hey, we got Archimedes as well. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Hi Archimedes.
Can 3-Bit hide his camera because he's the best looking here?
He is definitely a handsome man. I listen. You know what? That's the reason why I have the kid on here, folks. Listen, for sure. Besides the talent and the voice, that's a good-looking man right there.
Well, I'm glad he started growing his facial hair back the other day, because like 2 weeks ago on Xbox Ultimate, he showed up and he was like clean shaven, and it freaked me out for a second. It was just like, what? How are you 14 years old, or what's going on?
That was for the Target analog Christmas shoot for the kids.
Pretty much. I believe that's where we were going with it. And speaking of Target shoots, Pong Soul. I mean, every time we get together, brother, it's like family. I feel like I haven't seen you in a year. Welcome back.
It's great to be here. Boom. This is amazing. Wow. I am amongst some creative juggernauts on this panel. Holy cow, man. What a way to start a Tuesday. Got Pope. Awesome to finally be on a podcast with you, sir. Been obviously a longtime fan of your work on Twitter and watching what you create. And obviously to have Joe back, enjoying himself somewhere on some kind of private island, I'm sure, after the release of his game. But it is great to be here. And of course, having 3-Bit back, who is obviously creating stuff that we are going to be playing in the future behind the scenes. Man, this is a special Tuesday. Glad to be here. We like everybody said, man, we got a lot to talk about. We got a gigantic panel. Let's get into it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being here, brother. And last and certainly no way least, making his. Oh no, wait a second. There's actually two people. Boxenberger. Listen, obviously, you are. This is now your second Thursday here. You're a part of the Xbox
Tuesday.
Factor podcast. I said Thursday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I've been always on Thursday.
You're used to seeing Archie on Thursdays.
That's what happens when you do too many shows. First of all, you've been doing some great work with your videos. The last one you did, I thought, was fantastic. Obviously we're seeing your brand grow, and it's well deserved. How the heck are you, and what you been up to?
I'm super excited to be on here. I mean, I didn't expect that kind of panel here. I mean, I'm amongst superstars. I'm humbled to be here. I can't wait to discuss everything. Let's get into it.
Yes, certainly. And listen, let's call a spade, folks. The handsomest guy on the panel, the guy that could model for Target, if in fact is the truth, making his triumphant return. Very talented, very humble, and one heck of a community member. 3-Bit, thanks so much for being here, brother, and we are happy to have you back in the fold.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's this massive panel, alongside the Mighty Pope, and I love his designs. And Joe, dude, loved your game. Did not expect that ending, so looking forward to the sequel eventually. And Archimedes, dude, it's been some times because I was also on the other show, so being able to finally come back with Archimedes and the rest of you guys are awesome. So it's going to be an awesome show today. My schedule's been very hectic, but getting to hop back on here with everybody from the Factor, it's going to be great. So let's get into some of these awesome topics today.
Yeah, we're going to open up with
3-Bit on.
What's that, brother?
Yeah. I'm going to create a fan art controller just with 3-Bit's face on.
Dude, it's going to make you a millionaire.
Oh, that will be your biggest hit by far, Paul. Trust me, that fan base is huge. Let me tell you.
He's got all the fans.
Oh my goodness, this is great. This poor boy, we're killing him. We're killing him. Listen, real quick, folks. Two side notes. Two personal side notes. First, I am 5 subs away from 9K. So if you are new to the channel and you are in fact enjoying the banter, you like the weekly shows, you like the way I produce the content, you like the way I conduct myself within the community, consider subscribing. Let's get me to 9K. And obviously the mecca for me is to hit 10K is the key, and I'm hoping that happens. I don't think it's going to happen this year, and that's fine. It would just based on numbers, I'll get there eventually. But if you are enjoying it and you are new, please consider subscribing to the channel. And the other thing I want to drop into the chat, listen, folks. Now I know that there are a lot of people that love or are middle warm or even dislike Jeff Keighley. I happen to be a fan of his because I love what he represents and how he handles making the gaming relevant in the form of awards. Now, I have disagreed with some of his tactics. I'd be the first one to say that. And if you've been following me for a while, Jeff and I have had conversations on Twitter, on social media, and of course, like you would expect, I handle it in the proper manner. I will say that I'm not a fan of a specific way he handled something, and we'll talk like gentlemen, and that's the way it's supposed to be done. But with that said, he is doing something for the content creation community that I think is not only important, but incredibly generous of him to do. I mean, he's making bank. He's a producer of the Game Awards. It's the most watched game show every year. So obviously he's already made it, right? He's there. He has been doing this for many, many years. And what he's offering is the chance to be one of the top 50 content creators for 2021. And it's super important for a lot of reasons. Because what it does is what exactly it is. It's the future class. It's the Game Awards Future Class of 2021, and according to the advert, it's a diverse group of builders, thinkers, dreamers whose voices elevate and diversify our art form. Now that obviously is a broad stroke, folks. That's a broad stroke on who could be nominated and where and what you can do, whether you create content, whether you create games, whether you're just out there and supporting others. You could be picked. I'm throwing my name in the hat, and I had a tremendous response for it. I'm going to drop the link into it I've had a lot of people reach out to me on DM. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think I'm gonna get nominated. But you know, it's like lotto. You got to be in it to win it, right? So I'm gonna drop the link in here, and if you are someone in the chat that likes the work that I do, take 10 minutes, fill out the application, and you know, let's try and get me to let's will this to existence. Because if I remember, many years ago, Greg Miller, who was nominated, and his campaign. I mean, Greg Miller's a monster personality. There's no doubt about it. But he went out and he pledged himself to the community, and he's done a great job. And he deserved the win that he did. And he did win. So he started out with something small like this, dropping a link into a chat, and we'll see what happens. But if you are enjoying the content and you want to have me potentially get nominated, fill that out if you wouldn't mind. But let's get into the topic of the day. Now, this one, again, I think there's some people on the Twitters that are getting their feelings, and before they tune in for the show or read the article, they're throwing uneducated words into a sentence, because they can do that on Twitter, and hitting send. Don't do that. Don't be that person. But in a story that I pulled from comicbook.com, they ask, is Xbox Game Pass getting a price cut? Now, in certain countries, it appears to be the case. In fact, the price of the subscription service recently decreased in 3 different countries: Chile, Israel, and Hong Kong. Now, they don't go into specific details as to why, but those may be lesser. Maybe they're trying to bolster buzz for Xbox Game Pass. They lower the entry price, and people take it and they run crazy with it. But what's interesting isn't so much the price decrease in these 3 countries, it's the potential price increase for places like the United States, places like the UK. Now, thanks to Jeff Grubb of VentureBeat, who we all know is a community guy. He's someone I trust. He's a friend of this show. He has gotten things wrong before. I think we've all gotten things wrong before, but I trust his opinion, and I also trust him as a journalist. He had some things to say during his last podcast regarding a potential price increase, and that could be making its way to the service sooner than later. Now, according to the article, industry insider and leaker, as they have him, Jeff Grubb, echoed this sentiment, noting that it's unlikely that the United States, Canada, or other regions will follow their own price cut, like I just said momentarily, though Grubb didn't completely rule out the possibility. So it could, in fact, get a decrease. I don't see that happening. But here is what he had to say about the potential, folks. Remember, potential. It's his opinion, and I agree with him. And I think you don't have to be a mathematician to figure out that it's a business. Take your heart out of the conversation and understand that if they did increase it by $2 or $3, or at worst case scenario $5, and Ultimate was $20 and regular Game Pass was $15, I still think it's worth it. But this is what Jeff Grubb had to say. Xbox literally has billions of dollars earmarked for acquiring content for Xbox Game Pass. So Game Pass is a long way from turning a profit. But as these cuts suggest, turning a profit is not a concern at all right now for Microsoft. Now, I'll go first to our guest, and I'm going to start with Joe. Joe, listen, when you look at Xbox Game Pass and the inherent value that it's currently sitting at, if you are someone like me who pays for Ultimate, I pay $15 a month, right? Someone that is not going to take advantage of everything else, and they just want Game Pass for $10, they can do that. We've seen Hulu go up in price. We've seen Amazon Prime jump up $30. It went from $99 to $130 a year, and you get all those extra services. We've seen Netflix, and Netflix has been doing it more often than not, where it goes up $1, it goes up $2. Right now, if you have the top tier package, it's $19 a month, right? This is the business. Microsoft needs to put content in here. And in order to get that content in here, they have to drop these bags of monies off at these publishers and developers to get their game in there day and date. The way that they need the reason why they keep doing that is because they want people to subscribe. Do you see Microsoft increasing the price of Xbox Game Pass even $1 in 2022?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's a tough one because I think there's so many deals right now where you can get Game Pass for like $1 a month for like 3 months. There's like all these like little things, you know. It seems like it would be more valuable to start cutting back on those than to increase the base price on people, because that will just feel better to not like hit the people that are already paying the most with a heavier bill. But I don't see why it wouldn't happen, especially over time. You know, they're going to add value, and so they're going to increase the price because now the thing is worth more. You know, now you have 1,000 games or whatever it might be. I get it. I think it would be smart of them to say, over time, we plan to increase the price, but it'll never go above X or something like that, you know, in the next 10 years. And then people will like have it in their head that it's possible. I think it will always feel bad to the consumer if it's like a surprise or something. And Netflix, every time Netflix does do it, everybody freaks out.
Well, they don't really tell anybody, Joe,
because they kind of suddenly do it. Yeah.
You get an email that we don't pay attention to. It goes either into your junk, and then you look at your bill and you say, Netflix is $21.
Yeah, now it's this. Yeah, it would be very Xbox of them, because they are so open with everybody right now to just say like, this is our kind of plan. You know, like the next 10 years it may go up. We want to add value, and that will come with an extra cost. Or maybe instead of increasing it, they like add another tier that is the, you know, the $25 tier that gives you something else, you know, or more. So, and do it those sorts of ways. But $10 a month still, you know, whatever it is, it's people $1 a month. It's crazy. So I would say cut those deals first before you increase the price. But
yeah, no, I that's a great point. Let's get to Xbox Pope. Pope, again, I think it's pure mathematics that, you know, with anything in the world, a price increase is almost expected. It's not going to happen this year. Heck, it may not even happen next year. But I just think that the way Microsoft is throwing content into this service, and the content is ranging from two-man developed games all the way through big teams of 100+. So you're getting indies, you're getting single A, double A, and of course triple A, and you're getting all Xbox games, first party games in there day and date. Are you expecting a potential price increase to just go with inflation next year?
I mean, it's definitely on the cards, and I mean, there's another way of looking at this is they've got a kind of, the way Xbox is heading into this sort of, you know, totally digital world. You know, is the increase eventually kind of going to replace the fact that you have to pay for hardware? You know, because is it just going to become, you know, where you invest in more of a cloud and it's just straight onto your TV screen? You know, there is no technically a console to buy. You know, it's so I reckon that they're kind of prepping themselves to move towards that. So therefore, yes, they're going to increase the cost because, you know, but they're going to give you a lot more. They've already sort of given you that cloud streaming service, isn't it, where you can almost test the game before you even download like the full game, you know, which I find that better than actual, you know, the Game Pass side of things, you know.
I mean, it's interesting. You bring up some interesting points. I mean, obviously, we have heard Phil Spencer specifically say that they're not getting out of the hardware business anytime soon. They will offer the ability, though, for you to play said games on, let's say, your TV through an app or through potentially, you know, we've been hearing this for a while, that they were in the potential, business of bringing us like a Roku type device. Right, you know, for $100, you get the little dongle, you plug it into the side TV, you get a wireless controller, and there's your Xbox. And for the casual folks who are not looking for 3090 graphics or on a monster PC, or even to go out and buy a $2,000 or $3,000 CX, for instance, they'll be happy with that. I mean, there's still a subset of people in this community that don't even have HD TVs. They're the casual audience, and I think Microsoft, they have us already. We're here, right? We're already here. I have a show structured around the Xbox platform, so we're here. Interesting points. I want to, before I get to Zemi, I want to go to Pong Soul first on this. And the reason why I want to go to Pong is because of the conversation that we have had numerous times. And that's acquisitions. Now, I'm not turning this into an acquisition conversation by any stretch of the truth.
Acquisition season, let's go, Boom!
Yeah,
come on.
But no, it's still relevant to the conversation because when Microsoft gets a game like Back 4 Blood, like, we don't know the inner workings on how that happened, but I can say without a shadow of a doubt, a big chunk of money was exchanged. Right? They had to pay the developers X amount of dollars to get that in there day one. And it's done. It's a done deal. Check is signed. It's cash. They're having Mai Tais, right? But when you bring in Microsoft and you look at the acquisition game that is currently going on, it's a big topic within the community, the consolidation of companies, it behooves Microsoft to add another 7, 10, or 15 developers to Xbox Game Studios so they don't have to drop that bag off to bring said games from said developer. No, they're just part of Xbox Game Studios. So the more studios we have, the more games we can put in there, the more first-party games we can slap on a sticker that says, hey, all these new heroes, find them here. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this is, they've got to be very careful here, Boom. When you set up a service this way and you put out as much advertising as they have about Game Pass, and going forward, they're going to continue to just, I mean, once Halo dropped and Forza Horizon 5 is in there, I mean, I'm sure the marketing campaign is going to ramp up even more. You set expectations for people that are trying to decide if they're going to jump into the ecosystem. So you do not want to kill that momentum. Right. But obviously, at some point, let's again, speculation town. We're not doing the whole acquisition thing here. This is about Game Pass. But let's say they add, Uplay, Ubisoft Plus, whatever it's called now. Let's say they add that service to this as well. At some point, I think that they have to look at an increase. Now, how they go about that increase is the big question. There's a lot smarter people way above my pay grade that are making these decisions and looking at the analytics and trying to decide what the best way to do that. For me personally, as it stands, if they were to add more to this, if they make some more acquisitions, and now you're talking about a service that is offering, let's just throw out numbers. Let's say, 500-600 games on a regular basis. Plus, we're getting all the first party stuff day in date, obviously. I think that for me, the value is there that the increase could be significant, and I still wouldn't bat an eye. As a budget gamer, I would have to figure that out and may cost some other games from being bought, but the service itself would still present that value to me, again, personally. However, I think the best way they need to go about it is to create a tiered system.
That's interesting.
The tiered system, I think, yes, you would divide your base, and I think you don't look at doing this until you have a significant more amount of people already in the system. I don't think that they can look at any type of price increase until they hit that magic number internally. Personally, I think that magic number is around 50 million. I think when the 50 million comes about, I think that's when you start looking at dropping gold completely, get rid of that archaic setup. And then look going forward, depending on what you've done. Let's say you get the Ubisoft Plus in there. Let's say that you have some more acquisitions underneath your belt. All of a sudden, you've got all of this more content that is going to be dropping in there. Then I think that you can split it out and try to create some type of tiered system. Maybe you throw EA, Ubisoft into an extra tier and say, hey, if you want access to those services, it's going up by, $5 a month or whatever the case may be. Something to that degree. Again, a lot smarter people way above me making these kind of decisions and looking at this stuff. But I think you definitely have to be careful because you do not want to kill all of this goodwill, all of this momentum. Right now, it is known as the best value in gaming. That word is just starting to ripple out to the masses. And if you do something, you do something drastic at this point, or even if it's not drastic, let's say $3. Look, even if you do something like that, all of a sudden, whether real or not, people who have not entered the ecosystem, who have not experienced the value for themselves or have made that final decision, hey, this is worth it for me. Because again, we got to remember, not everybody plays games the same, right? I'm a grazer. So for me, that's Microsoft's official term. I try a lot of different games. I'm always jumping into different games, but not everybody's that way. So you don't want to make that price increase and all of a sudden make people second guess coming into the ecosystem, or that word of mouth goes, well, it was the greatest value in gaming, but man, they just increased it by $3 a month. And now I don't know. Even though that sounds ridiculous to those of us that are already enjoying all of the benefits, to the masses, that ripple can get interrupted, right? And all of a sudden you've got a little break, and all of a sudden you got less people maybe considering it in the long run versus, staying the course. You've got this great thing going, and you just continue to let those ripples hit more and more people. And like I said, there has to come to a point where you get the amount of people that you need internally to say, okay, we are now, making X amount of dollars. We can afford X amount of projects at this price point. Now, we've given such a extreme value that now, we think the people will understand a slight increase. And I think that that's where they have to get to. And like I said, personally, I would do a tiered system. I would offer, different buffets depending on how people like how people like to consume, right? You could offer a first party only kind of game pass where you're just getting first party. You could do a lot of different things, even at a lesser value. You could do a lot of different things there, price point, I should say, to entice people to come in if you offer them. Now, not everybody likes to have that because, that goes back to those old cable days where we had to pick our packages and what do I really want to watch, and is these channels over here actually something I'm going to use or not, all that kind of stuff. But if you could somehow create a system where you could allow people to kind of pick and choose, create their tier, and then move into the ecosystem, that's another way to look at it as well. Boom, I just don't want them to do anything drastic to kill the momentum, because again, they've got a really, really good thing going. They haven't even hit their stride. Again, yes, we got things like Flight Simulator and that kind of stuff, but obviously to the masses, you need those big titles in there, like a Halo, like a Forza Horizon 5, and see where your subs go from there. If you see a gigantic influx of people, like I'm assuming they expect to happen over the holidays with those offerings, then you kind of sit back and you got to judge, okay, where are we going to be at, a year from now? Is that the point we get rid of gold and maybe increase a little bit on the price? Or do we keep holding off, try to get as many people in as possible before we even entertain that thought? So I think it's going to be very interesting. Like you said, Boom, the acquisitions are definitely going to make a difference. If they make some more big acquisitions, if they make another publisher acquisition, then you start thinking, well, at some point here, we've got to do something, because we went from great value to extreme out of this world. We're giving away the house value.
Yeah, no.
You got to do something about that. So,
no, I mean, obviously, the more that they acquire, and we know that that's happening. Like I said, this it really doesn't come at this point. It's not if, Pong. It's just when. It really is. And I think it's the inherent value, I think, already is there. I think a lot of people would agree with me that it is the best value in gaming. As a matter of fact, it's so unique that it's the only one in gaming. It's the only service in gaming right now that has really taken over the socials. And I think that what we're seeing, and I think this is one of those instances that Microsoft might have been ahead of the game. The average customer, not us, we're the diehards, we're the minority of the conversation. People are already trained mentally for subscription services because they have Netflix, they have Paramount, they have all these different avenues to get their content. And now gaming, obviously, we saw it took a tremendous influx the pandemic helped with that because people were, sheltering in place and people started playing games again. And I think once you get a taste of playing games, you don't really leave. And if you can find something that doesn't break the bank, I mean, a perfect example of what I'm talking about is when I was on ILP on Sunday, they had a gamer from India tune in. He was dropping a ridiculous amount of super chats. And what he was saying was that currently PlayStation PS Now not available in that region. And he had over a dozen of his friends that were diehard Sony guys leave that platform to go to Xbox because of Xbox Game Pass value. Now, in a country that, depending on what country we're talking about, that $15 a month for all of these games is a godsend for some, even in this country, for that matter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it's huge for me as a budget gamer, right? Boom. Again, it adjusted my budget. So there's a lot of people like me. Not everybody has the expendable cash just to go out and buy every single game. Yes. So when you get a service that offers you this kind of selection, it changes everything, right? And that's the mentality. And like you said, in other countries, it's a huge deal. It reduces the barrier to entry for everybody, and that's a big part of it. So that they've got to be careful with what they do going down the road. To not alienate or cut off, certain people from that experience because you raise the price to the point where it puts it out of their budget, and they do have to be aware of that.
I mean, again, we're not going to know. Like I said, this is not a confirmed. This is an opinion.
No.
Obviously,
it's business though, Boom. Like you said, it's business. It's kind of obvious.
No, I absolutely agree. Zemi Games, let's get your opinion on this. But before I get to you, I got to thank Raiden Blade. He didn't drop 1 or 2. He dropped 3 super chats. The first one comes in at £2. He says, I don't see the price going up until the new gen. I mean, if that in fact is the case, that would be pretty epic, to be honest with you. And I think at that point, you're talking Microsoft has 50 million plus subscribers at that point, because then obviously the subscription is basically paying the bills. Raiden Blade drops an additional £2 super chat. Says, sorry, no tiered system. You will separate gamers. I mean, listen, I don't know if you'll separate gamers. I think what happens is that you won't have access to a specific service. I think they have that with cable. Cable has, regular package, silver and gold, right? Or you get the $99 a month package that gives you phone, cable, and everything else with it. I mean, tiered systems is just business. Is it right? I couldn't say. I'm not a businessman, but it's an interesting thought. He drops an additional £5 super chat. Says tiered system would close off gamers where your friends can't join you because they are on a lower tier. So increase the price at start of next gen. I mean, what you're saying makes sense, right? You don't want to see anyone boxed out, so to speak. But when you say next gen, I mean, this gen just started.
Yeah,
it started last November. So I mean, to suggest that we're going to get another gen.
And we could be looking 8 to 10 years on this. This could be one of the longest gens.
I was going to say 10, yep. But 8 to 10 is a fair thing. But Zemi, I want to bring you into the conversation because Game Pass is unique in every facet, right? It is the most valued. Out of all the services that we have, you look at your Disney Plus. And you look at your Netflix, and you look at Hulu and Paramount and all of the services that come with it. The Game Pass, even by any of those standards, is leaps and bounds better than them all, right? Now, one of the biggest gripes, I think, for people who support Sony is the $70 game, right? They don't have a service they offer. They just said, hey, listen, by the way, and they did it in a blurb. They didn't even do it like in a legit way, which I'm still to this day a little shocked that they didn't get any crap for. They basically said, oh yeah, by the way, first party game, $70. If you want it, you want to get the increase, it's this, it's that, all these different tiers. When they put out a game and it's usually about 20 different paragraphs on how you can upgrade to this and upgrade to that, and people just go with it. But Microsoft is still selling these games for $60, right? They have not increased it. They have not talked about increasing it. And I don't necessarily know if they are ever going to increase it, because yes, they want to sell you games, but at the end of the day, I think Microsoft is happy with your $15 a month, and if they can get millions, I mean, right now the rumor, thanks to the CEO of Take-Two, is 30 plus. I have heard from a source that King and I know that it's officially 31. They just haven't said anything yet. Now, could we be wrong? Could our source be wrong? Sure. Do I think that they are? No. I think it is over 30 million. I don't think you have the Take-Two CEO make that kind of a mistake live on the air. I'm just saying. But with that said, where do you fall in your feelings for a price increase? It's not happening this year. Again, it may not even happen next year, Zemi. But at some point, they're just going to be offering so many games that I don't think they can afford not to increase it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting idea. I mean, really what we're talking about here is like price strategy, right? And there's a lot that goes into it. For instance, how many subscribers do they have to Game Pass? Because that has a huge implication on whether or not they need to raise the price, right? If they have enough subscribers, then, even if each subscriber is paying $10, that's going to more than cover the bills if they have enough subscribers. So, the actual number of subscribers that they have and how much money they're pulling in from that really kind of matters on whether or not they need to increase price. I think honestly, probably, for any, service, really, truly, probably the last thing that they really want to ultimately do is raise the price of their service, because it's going to make it harder to gain new subscribers to the service. There's always the possibility that people that were just right on that edge, of, staying subscribed or getting out, might end up unsubscribing to it. Right. So, it's not universal that, if you increase your price for your service, that you're 100% going to make more money. And it could hurt them more in the long run than it helps them. I mean, we have to remember that Xbox's brand is all about consumer, friendly practices, and, it is the best value in gaming, and so on and so forth. And we saw the type of backlash that they had whenever they tried to change the pricing structure of Xbox Live Gold. Mind you, that situation was a little bit, more different than just raising Game Pass by a buck or two. But consumers just, don't really like it very much. And I would imagine that we would see a very similar type of outcry if Xbox decided to raise the price of Game Pass. A very similar outcry as to what we saw with Xbox Live Gold. If there is a price increase, which, there might be, it kind of makes sense. It's kind of, makes somewhat common sense if you just think about it from, rudimentary business perspective, that it's going to happen. Um, you, you know, I can see it kind of going both ways. I could, but if it's gonna happen, I think we're looking at maybe within probably at least 2 years from this point, because Xbox is still very much in the mode of growing this service. And
Right.
I think if you increase the price, like I was saying earlier, there's going to be a lot of people that really start to question, should they really subscribe to this service, or should they just, maybe not? um because it is money, right? And especially during, today's time with, this is something that a lot of people, are tired of hearing about. It's old news, but COVID is still a thing. It still exists.
Yep.
There's still people out of work, so on and
Yep.
so forth. Not the greatest time to raise prices of really anything. um so so if they did in fact raise price, I would say it would probably be 2 years. Maybe a little bit less than that until we actually see it. But I think a lot of it also comes into how well Game Pass is performing. How many subscribers are they getting? We have to remember that for the longest time, Xbox Live Gold, remain the same price. Even still to this day, you can go and buy, a lot of games at $60 a pop. And a lot of us gamers and a lot of us, content creators kind of point at Sony and point at some of these other companies like Activision, and 2K and so on and so forth, that are adopting this $70 $70 price for games. A lot of us look at it as it being greedy, and them not actually really having to increase the price of the games, but they're just doing it anyway. But Xbox is staying in the lane of $60 per game, right? So whenever you look at it like that and look at historically what Xbox has done, they've maintained the same price, right? Without upgrading it or increasing it. So I think if there was enough subscribers that Xbox Game Pass is sustainable, is making sustainable profits for Microsoft, I think that we could possibly see them not increase the price. But, a lot of that just comes down to all those Excel sheets and financial data that we don't have, right? We don't, we may even know how many subscribers Game Pass has, but there's two different tiers, right? There's the $10 tier, the $15 tier. A lot of people got in at $1 a pop. We don't really know how much money Game Pass is pulling in, and there's not really a great way of, accurately calculating that, right? A lot of, the numbers that we have are just speculatory. But you both Joe and Pong mentioned a tier system, and I think a tier system is a really, really interesting way of monetizing or increasing, your monetization without, upsetting a lot of people. But I think the problem with the tier system comes into why we probably ultimately saw Xbox try to increase Xbox Live Gold was because they wanted to push more subscribers to that $15 a month Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, right? By making it where Xbox Live isn't as, it doesn't look as good of a prospect, isn't as enticing to a consumer, because, and then they will hopefully go pay $15. I think if you added in a $25 tier, that's great. But, if you purchased all of these publishers and you're adding all this value into Game Pass, even if you have a $20 tier, that's not guaranteed that anyone's going to actually pay that, right? We still to this day, we have no idea how many people are paying, $15 a month for Game Pass, right? I would say a heck of a lot more people are probably paying 10. So even whenever you add in a tier system, I think you still have to look at how are you going to convert, a new subscriber, but also a pre-existing subscriber who's been paying $10 a month for the last, 2, possibly 3 years over to the new $25 service, right? So just because there's a new tier doesn't necessarily, mean that's going to solve, a financial problem or Microsoft's need to make more money, because people just may not subscribe to it. But I think that there's a lot of ways that they could potentially monetize, this service if they needed to. A tier system, is a great idea. Here's another wacky idea that I was hearing somebody mention a while ago in like an Xbox Live Party chat, and it is a wacky idea, but I think in some ways, if done correctly, it could possibly work. Is making a more, a lower tier for like maybe $5 a month or something, but create a smart way of incorporating advertisements into it, right? The same monetization method that we see used on Facebook and on, YouTube and on Hulu, and other services as well. Add advertisements to those, consumers who may want to subscribe to Game Pass because it is a heck of a great service, but maybe they just don't want to spend as much money. Charge them $5 and put in advertisements, every hour in the game, or so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of ways of monetizing. I think a tier, way could possibly work, but I think there's also, cons to that. There's also cons to having advertisements played during your games. Don't get me wrong.
Don't do that, please.
No,
This is why I don't watch
absolutely.
Hulu, because F that,
Yeah,
we're having to watch
yeah.
commercial. This is outrageous.
Yeah.
I will say this to your point. You're onto something for sure. And I think the general consensus here, and I got to go back to Pong's opinion earlier, is that they're doing so many good things. Don't ruin it now with a price increase. So it continues, Emmy.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think Pong was really onto something, with that, and kind of like how I opened it up as well. Kind of in reference to him is they are still trying to grow this service, right? They're still trying to get news out about Game Pass, bring and ultimately increase subscribers to increase the sustainability of the service, right? The last thing you want to do is jack up the prices right now, especially right now. because that's going to kind of, in some ways, depending on how they do it, possibly, backpedal on a lot of the hard work that they've built up, these last couple of years growing Game Pass, right? If nothing else, I think if they decide to increase the price of Game Pass, they need to really, really hone in on what consumers want, what is important to them, make sure that they get their messaging right, and make sure that they have a very, very, very fair and reasonable, strategy to increase the prices, right?
Right.
I think, Joe, to Joe's point as well, is bring in some of that Xbox transparency, let people know that this is going to happen before it actually happens, right? At least, maybe, if we're fortunate, 6 months before it happens or something like that. And the reason I say that is because the whole Game Pass, or the whole Xbox Live Gold, it kind of came on kind of abruptly, and it really caught a lot of people off guard, and so on and so forth. Maybe also in some of your communications, kind of mention, don't maybe flat out come out and say, hey, we're going to increase the price, but maybe, talk about it softly, kind of introduce people to the idea very, very slowly. That way it doesn't come off as a huge, huge, huge shock.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that goes into price strategy, and like I said at the very beginning, they may not even need to raise the price because they have so many subscribers.
Yes,
It's really kind of a balancing act, right? The more subscribers you have, the more money you make. The higher your price, the more money you make. But there's a balancing act there, and if they have enough subscribers, they may not even need to raise the price.
And that's a fantastic point. And I'm glad you're one of the first actually to say that. And it does make sense if they did have. I mean, look, what I think we're on the cusp of is we see the numbers going up. The average that they were talking about was 1 million new subscribers per month. That is what they were averaging, right? But we have to look at other past victories from other entities. Let's take Disney Plus, for instance, right? Now, Disney Plus was having a difficult time getting people to subscribe because they didn't have anything that people wanted to tune into. That is until The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian came up and almost like that, a snap overnight, 100 million, right? And people are still subscribed because what do we got coming up? We got Hawkeye at the end. We just finished What If, which if you didn't watch, my God, it was amazing. They're talking about all these different new series they're going to be coming. So they're I mean, forget just based on Favreau being involved with Filoni, and they creating this Filoni verse that they're making. I'll put it this way. I said this before. They literally saved Star Wars. These two men, because the powers that be. And I'm not trying to, throw any digs over here. I know under Kathleen Kennedy, they made a lot of money, but the movies were garbage. A lot of them were. The last, the first episode 7, great. Episode 8 and 9, garbage, right? They ruined Star Wars for many people. So now that we see Dave and John involved, people are subscribing like crazy because Book of Boba Fett. Did you guys see that? The advertisement for that? Yes, please. So what I think we're on the cusp of from Microsoft is this game you see in front of us right here. This is their Star Wars. Halo Infinite is going to hit like a brick to the face. And if the game plays anything like what me, you, and the rest of the people that hung out that Friday and Saturday playing, it comes to fruition and the single player hits like I believe it's going to hit. This is going to be people jumping in for this. People be like, holy, and I understand one is free to play, right? We understand that one is free to play, but it's still, this is one of the big AAA bombs that's going to be coming right after Forza, which did anyone catch Dealer's preview? I didn't even know he had a preview copy, which is great for Dealer. He put out a 10-minute video showing it, and man, every time I see Forza Horizon 5, it just looks better and better and better, and that's coming out soon. But Mav, I want to grab your opinion on this, and I'll get 3-bit, and then we'll move on to Boxenberger, and then we'll get to topic number 2, because I'm interested to hear what Boxenberger has to say about this. Nintendo. right? I know we're talking. This is an Xbox program, but you got to talk about the other guys in the room. Nintendo just announced at their last Direct that there's going to be a new tier, so you can play N64 games. Right now, that service launched. I have it in front of me right here, September 18th of 2018. Now that service is nothing like Xbox Live or Game Pass. I mean, it's not even anything like PS Now, and PS Now is trash in my opinion. But they just announced a new tier. Like, if you want to continue paying what you're paying, it's fine. We're going to be dumping in Super Nintendo games. We can give you NES games. But if you want N64 games, you got to pay this extra money. And what they did is, well, we're not talking about price yet, which I don't know why. I hate when they do that, but it's probably going to go up $5, I would imagine. And I'm going to be paying it with a big cheese smile on my face because I don't have to dig out my N64 and play these games. I could literally play them on my Switch, and I'm good with that. That comes into the question of tiers. Where do you fall on the tier system?
Well, I think Xbox has already kind of planted their feet in the tier system already. I mean, we already have tiers, right?
You're right. You're correct.
So,
we have one that's 10 and one that's 15.
Yeah, and then if you want to go even beyond that, there's Game Pass for PC only, which is $5 or $5. Is it? Did they raise it to $5.99? I think they already did.
They raised it to 10 now, if I'm not mistaken. It used to be 5, but I think they raised it up to 10.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm not
I'll find
exactly sure
out
what the price is on that, but as far as that seemed like that was their model to begin with, right? So, and it makes sense because if you look at other services like Hulu and even Netflix has had tiers, right? So it just kind of makes sense that you're going to have that kind of system because it's kind of the MO for subscription services.
It is. You're correct. I'm sorry to interrupt. It is $10, $1 to start, and $10 per month afterwards for PC only.
So they raised it from 5. So there's another question: are they going to raise prices? Right? Potentially. Well, maybe, and maybe it's because not enough subscribers were only subscribed to Game Pass for PC. So that's a very good example potentially, right? Like Zimmy said, the more subscribers you have, the less likely there is maybe for a price increase for the short term. I think the service is working well, but you got to think about this too. For gaming, it's different than movies and TV because there's another value for these games to be in the service in the fact that when people play them, there's a chance you're going to spend money on other stuff, right? So Halo Infinite or Sea of Thieves or Forza Horizon 5 or Flight Simulator, all these big games that are going into Game Pass, they're selling content within the game as well, right? So that adds another avenue and another way that they're making money. And that's one reason why a lot of other games want to dive into the service. Like, for example, Avengers, since being in Game Pass, has seen a huge increase, right? Even though they have changed some of their storefront things to in a not a good way, I will say that. But they have seen that work for them where it's increasing the sales within the game, and the game's now making more money because it's within Game Pass, right? So there's a lot of value for being in Game Pass besides the subscription fee, right? So with Microsoft's first party, I think you're going to see a lot of that going forward. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be like crazy stuff. I think they're going to mainly stick to cosmetic things and stuff like that, but it's there. There's a reason why this model exists, and it works for gaming for this purpose, right? So, as far as making money, I don't think that's necessarily going to be a problem going forward, especially when these really big games hit. The question is over time with acquisitions and all that kind of stuff, and if they move even beyond gaming, that's where I think you may have more tiers pop in.
So are you suggesting that they should buy WB? Because that's what I'm saying. Buy WB, get into the movie business, and get us Batman as an exclusive. But no,
well, the Microsoft's MO before this whole shenanigans from 2013 and all that stuff was be the center of the living room, right? I don't think they've ever truly 100% wanted to stop being the center of the living room.
Right.
I think they want to be that still, but they shifted the focus on how to approach that. And abandoning their fan base was the wrong move to begin with, right? So they have doubled down on what made them who they were, increase the value, come up with a different idea, be the leader with consumer services and value, push that out, and then you can expand upon that. I could see potentially something like the new Discovery W plus WB company that was formed based out of debt getting acquired at some point by another major company, whether it's Disney or whoever, right? It would make sense for me potentially if you're looking to add stuff to a subscription service and you're trying to draw in another crowd to potentially move in another direction as well, right? Because you're only going to get so many people that are interested in AAA style games, right? Big games, you know.
Right.
Apple is the leader in gaming, and they don't even make games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because the accessibility is there. Everybody has a phone. You know, half the world has iPhones. It's just right there at their fingertips, right? If you try and increase the accessibility and the reach to try and draw in as many different people as possible, that's how you're going to get even more subs. And adding a tier at that point makes sense based on the the steps that they had with going with the Game Pass PC, Game Pass console, Game Pass Ultimate, and then potentially maybe in the future you're going to have Game Pass plus something else, and you may be able to choose. I don't know what it's going to be, but eventually, yes, even with all this, there will be price increases, just like everything, because that's just only natural. It's the way the world works, and it'll happen. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think they're going to do it this year before Halo and Forza drop. I think this is their time to get as many people as they possibly can into the service and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely make a lot of sense. Boxenberger, let's get your opinion on this, dude. Where do you fall on the potential? I mean, Jeff Grubb had some interesting things to say, and like I said, I think it's pure mathematics that we will eventually get a price increase. Again, I'm in the camp where if it went up $2 or went up $3, I don't care. I think the value that I'm getting already is outrageous, and I want them to continue adding. In order to continue to add to the service, they need to keep dropping bags of money off at these publishers and developers to get said games in there. That obviously costs money. So, I mean, again, where do you fall?
Yeah, I mean, even if they increase, the value would still be there for most gamers. But I think most points have already been said. The thing really is, does Microsoft want to lose the mindset? Because if they would increase Game Pass right now, or even over the course of the next year, they definitely would lose a lot of the mind share that they have right now in the gaming community as being the good guy, the best value in gaming. And even though, like I said, if they increase it $1, $2, or $3, the value would still be there, but the perception would be different. So I don't think that this is going to happen over the course of the next year. Will it happen eventually? Of course, Microsoft is going to, or will always try to maximize their profit. They are in that business to make money. And so when do we, or can we expect that? That is a good question. Obviously, I don't know, but my guess would be once the games have come out and continue to come out. We all know that with 23 Xbox first-party game studios, we will eventually get that continuous stream of first-party content with a major AAA release every quarter, or even every other month. Those games will come, and once we are used to that kind of stream, to get a Starfield, and 2 months later we get a Hellblade, and 2 months later we get an Avowed, and another 2 months later we get, I don't know, Fable or something. Yeah. That once we are used to that kind of continuous stream, Microsoft will have obviously a lot of reasons to do these smaller price increases and hikes, and just like Netflix did, once they had the content, once they had that continuous stream of stuff to watch for us, they started to continuously increase the prices, and we won't see probably a big price hike at once. They will do it step by step, probably 23 or beyond, something like that would be my guess. Yeah, but I don't want to drag that topic too long. We have another awesome topic to talk
Yeah,
about.
we do.
So I hand
Yeah.
it over to 3-bit.
Yeah, 3-bit. Where do you fall on this, man? I mean, obviously, everyone had some incredible points. I see there's a lot of people really, wound up in the chat. Folks, this is just speculation. And you know something? If this isn't your topic and you didn't tune in for this, I could say just hit the thumbs down button. News is scarce. And I thought this was worthy of a conversation. If you dig it, hang out. If you don't, well, you know what you can do. Please continue, 3-bit. You're muted, brother. Oh, there you go. Now you're.
Am I not? Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all expecting a price increase at some point. I mean, things start to look better for them from a financial point of view when you start to compare the numbers of people that are subscribed, which continues to climb to what they could just make by just $1 more to the service.
Yep.
And the numbers are going up currently without those huge releases. And I think it has incredible games on the service already. So imagine when Halo hits the service, right? Or Hellblade or Starfield. And then when those games are on the service in people's minds, I think it might make it easier for them to accept the price increase. The value we already have is insane. You hear people say it's the best value in gaming, right? And I mean, it kind of is. And it's not really a matter of if there's an increase, it's just when. And if I was them, I would pair it a price increase with those tons of games announcements. It makes it a little easier to swallow for the consumer. But you see these price increases throughout other streaming services all the time.
Oh, is it me or did he freeze?
He's frozen. He's frozen.
He's frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, dang. I don't know what's going on. Netflix is used to be $17.99 a month for premium, and that's what it is now. And it started off being $8 a month. So
Yep.
it just proved to people that was subscribed that it was worth staying on the service. And with Game Pass Ultimate, you're getting all these huge discount on games that you want to purchase. You're getting access to brand new games, having the ability to play it on your PC, on your phone, through the Azure services on the cloud. So the value isn't always comparable to a Netflix subscription service where you could just watch movies. Though the closest, it is kind of the closest thing we can kind of compare it to, because Game Pass it's kind of a new.
Oh man.
Losing him again.
Yeah.
New. Go next person. I don't know.
Yeah, he's frozen again. I don't know if you know what it is. I think the
So you can't have everything. It's all them good looks, you know.
yeah, you know what it is. His good looks broke the internet. That's for sure.
Yeah,
listen,
I'll
3-bit.
restart my stuff.
Yeah, we'll have you back here in a sec. Listen, folks, what I want to do next is I want to get to a topic. I think it's going to be very exciting, very speculative for sure. XO21 has not been announced, but we can all sit here and assume that is coming. And this is the 20th anniversary of Xbox. It's the 20th anniversary of Master Chief and Combat Evolved. We would imagine that there's going to be a bunch of celebrations happening. But we want to talk about what we expect at XO21, how big of a deal. This has to be the biggest Xbox celebration outside of the scope and scale of something like E3. Like this past E3 might have been, and many people have said this, and I would agree with them, considered to be the best Halo Xbox show since the 360 days. And I would agree. I would wholeheartedly agree. This past E3 it took the world by storm. It put them on a plateau that we see them still standing on. They had a couple of fumbles. Obviously, we talked about it before with the the doubling price of the Xbox Gold. We all came together as one. We spoke our distaste for it, and the next day they changed it. But XO21, in my opinion, needs to be the mecca. It has to be big on a multitude of levels. I want to talk about that and get everyone's opinion. Are they going to show new games? Are Are we going to see games that we know are coming and get an actual gameplay preview? Or are they saving anything for the Game Awards? I think that if there's anything big that they want to announce or is going to happen, it should happen at that show, simply because it is celebrating the 20th anniversary of the platform, and that's pretty big. But before I do that, I do have to catch up on some of these super chats, and quite a few of them. Danny Passion Official drops several super chats. The first one is of $2. That Netflix allows you more screen for more money, I think he meant to say. You're talking about more ways to watch. Yes, they actually do that. Yes. His second super chat of $2 is a family plan is coming, and first, I'm ready for it. Yeah, they've actually, Aaron Greenberg have talked about that. There is a family plan coming for Xbox Game Pass. Maybe that's announced at XO, or in a blurb. Who knows? Crazy Luau Gaming drops $10 super chat and says, I think they're going to do what Netflix did, reach a good amount of subscribers and then increase by year the price of the service. But for this to happen, it's going to take a year, so no worries. Yeah, it is going to be a while, I would imagine. Raiden Blade drops an additional £2 super chat and says, boom, your Halo fight, you make me want it. Yeah, I mean, listen, I put it up there for everyone to enjoy. I cannot wait for Halo. Nothing else matters. We talked about it on Primetime Gaming that based on the betas that were released, Call of Duty looks like, man, it doesn't look good. And Battlefield, there was a report that's out there that WCCF Tech is running that the build that we all played, and I say we, I didn't play, folks. I'm not, because I didn't lie. I was playing Far Cry. Is the build from September, mid-September build. If that in fact is the case, they probably should delay Battlefield until next year, because it's going to launch in not a good shape. We also have Outbreak Podcast drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, great panel, boom. Well, thank you, dude. And Danny Passion Official drops an additional $2 super chat and says, the family plan is coming. Oh, I think you already...
the next three are just repeats. That I
actually okay. Okay, so we got them. Thank you, brother.
Yep.
Okay, I see. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Dusty drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Game Pass Basic, $5. Console PC equals $10. Ultimate, $15. Console PC Cloud Elite, Game Pass Elite, $20. And $24.99 console, which includes everything, including PC Cloud, EA Play Pro, and Ubisoft Plus. I mean, that's...
God, I hope they don't do that, because that would be so gosh darn complicated.
It would be complicated, yeah. There's no doubt about that. But again, listen, it is what it is. So I'll come back to the other super chats momentarily. Let's get into the fun aspect. Now, I want to go to Pope first, because he's got to be out of here in the next 15 minutes. So he's got a meeting he's got to get to. Pope, I want to get your opinion on this. Now, listen, you know how to celebrate Xbox. You've been doing it for years with your art. You've always put like real special edition console artwork out there for us to enjoy. You've done a Resident Evil console for me for my birthday a couple of years ago, which was epic. I still have the images. From an artist's point of view, and you are one of the finest artists in the community, hands down, how does Microsoft celebrate XO21 and really do it up for the fans?
I mean, it'll have to be a historical event, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm right there with you. I agree.
It would have to go back from, the early days and kind of taking you on that journey. But I mean, that's only going to resonate to kind of us guys, really. The generation that we've got now probably won't understand it, but it's not to say that it's the wrong thing to do, because it could also educate them. So yeah, I mean, I would go for more of a historical showcase. Even if they did a special design hardware, it would have to represent that history.
Right.
I know they have got the 20th edition controller, but I mean, does it really shout 20 years of history? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's. I mean, I have actually I have two pre-ordered. One of which we're giving away during the holiday show to one winner, and one I bought for myself, which I don't even know if I'm ever going to use. To be honest with you, I mean, I have like 17 controllers. One can just sit in a box, and that's fine. But I agree with you. I think it does have to be historical for the simple fact that we are celebrating the 20th year, and they do have their own program in XO, right? And what better way to celebrate, where the gaming has become since Xbox jumped in on the scene, and where it's going, and and obviously, I would love to see some unannounced stuff announced there. I mean, I know a lot of people are on the fence about, well, I really don't like CG trailers. Well, you know what? Then you don't like movie
Do you know? I
trailers.
mean,
What can I tell you?
one of the things I've done at at business events is you can have these virtual, like almost virtual exhibition halls, like booths, and you kind of walk around as your little pixel character, and you kind of, as soon as you get near someone, you can start chatting to them. I can't remember what the software is called, but it's absolutely amazing, and it feels like you're walking around in an event, just chatting to people and kind of seeing what other developers and stuff are doing. And I think, could they do some kind of virtual, gathering? And would it not be perfect to have it at sort of, because everyone's in COVID kind of still,
Yeah.
have it at the birthplace of Redmond, so it's almost like this full circle of kind of things coming back around again,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be a controlled event. It's going to be a virtual event. Unfortunately, we are nowhere near. I mean, I mean, even if they offered me a ticket to be in person, I probably wouldn't go, because I'm still not. I haven't even seen Shang-Chi or Venom, because I'm not comfortable with going into a theater yet. I mean, I'd rather stay home and watch it there, which is what I'm waiting for. So I absolutely agree with you. But Pope, listen, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on today's show. I'm honored to
I
have
didn't
you
even get to
here.
tell all me jokes or anything.
Well, well, it really is a big panel. But what I would like to do,
I'm
Pope,
joking. Yeah.
is by all means, please sell your brand. Tell people where they could reach out to you, strike up a conversation on social media, and where should people watch for this epic news that you should be sharing with us, hopefully soon.
Well, I mean, anything that I announce, it'll be on Twitter,
Of course.
And obviously, I'll share some info on my Instagram.
Oh yes. Where can people subscribe to you on Instagram?
Well, it's just Pope Art Designs, I mean, if they follow it, Pope Art _ on Twitter, they can, I've got links in there of where to follow us, and the partners that I'm kind of working alongside at the minute. But listen, nobody needs to follow me. Pope's about drawing attention to other people to follow. That's the whole concept of Pope. It's never about me. It's about you guys. It's about Joe and his wonderful game that he's worked hard on. It's when I do a fan art, it's meant to go to the developers, not the actual attention to Pope. It's
right.
To say, it's meant to say well done and congrats. So no, you don't have to follow me. I'm just
you're a very humble man, and this is why we love you very much, Pope. Listen, we definitely got to get you on a smaller panel so you can in fact tell your jokes, because you're quite humorous, to say the least. But Pope, folks, I could tell you this. Pope and I have been talking for many years, and I'm privy to some stuff because he trusts me, and I can tell you that I can say publicly and proudly, knowing this man, I'm not prouder than anybody else. The success you're going to see coming his way in the coming months, your jaw is going to drop. Stay tuned to Pope Art. And listen, the controllers. I just got the shipping notification for the Needler. I can't freaking wait. I got one of yours right here, Pope. Look at this.
You know it is. I mean, when obviously I dropped that. I mean, I only did that controller like for 30, 20 minutes. While I was kind of messing about on.
My
On
God, the
and
talent is oozing
and-
out of every hole.
and obviously I dropped it, and it wasn't meant to go on sale. But then obviously demand kind of got big, and we just said, we'll just make some. But at the end of the day, I'm not really precious whether my work gets made or not. You know, it doesn't really bother us. You know, it's just meant to be for fun, really.
Well,
So,
we are happy to be a part of
enjoy
the
it.
journey.
And I mean, just as I'm speaking to you now, I'm actually getting another deal come through. So this is what it's like. It's honestly, I've got so much people just wanting poop stuff. It's actually quite scary, you know.
Well, the talent is there. It's well
And I'm only
deserved.
one guy, you know.
Yeah, yes, you are one dude, and at some point, you're gonna have to tell the story you told us when we were in the green room, because that is hilarious.
I
At
better
some
not
point.
tell you because he might come after us.
Yeah, well, we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. But listen, Pope, enjoy
Aye.
the rest of your day, brother. Thank you again. Good luck on the meeting, and we got to have you back much sooner than later.
And thanks everything, and well done, Joe, on your game, and well done to all you guys for doing what you do. Okay.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you
Awesome
so much,
to be here
Pope.
with you,
Definitely
Pope. Appreciate it.
brother.
Great to see
Catch
you,
you
dude.
later. Bye.
All right, brother.
Bye, Pope.
Take care. Joe, I want to go to you. Now, listen, talking to another artist, and that's what you are. You are a designer. XO21, even though it has not been announced, I think we can all safely assume that something is happening. Now, I don't have any inside news to it. I didn't hear any of these so-called insiders and people that I trust, like Jeff Grubb, even like Nick from Xbox Era, Special Nick. These are friends of mine, and we talk all the time. I haven't heard anything, but like I said, it's safe to assume that something big is going to happen. The question I have for you is, how big does it need to be? How special does this event have to be to celebrate? And can we expect some new announcements?
Yeah, it's a tough question. I mean, there's so many events now, especially with all the digital stuff that's come up. Like, how do you save enough things for this one event to make it this epic show that you're kind of like implying? I think it's tough. It's really hard and then now at the end of year stuff's coming out. I think the right thing would be to have really low expectations for it and think of it literally as a celebration of 20 years and not necessarily as like the fourth E3 of the year or anything like that. I mean, I think you're only going to be disappointed, I think, if you expect some monster show with like 5, never before seen games to come out and all that sort of stuff.
You just killed me, because that's what I'm thinking about.
I know. I don't have any information. I could be totally wrong. I just think it'll only do good for everybody if we expect it to be just like 3 videos of like, remember playing Halo when you were 6 and like all this sort of stuff, and way less like, here's Halo Infinite 2's announcement and like all that, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Other than new trailers for stuff. I mean, they've got so many things in the works. We could definitely see stuff, but I think we'll feel better coming out of the show if we just get excited to be part of this Xbox show and not necessarily expect 1,000 new things to come out of it. That's what I want, more stuff. I mean, I hope that they show a bunch of cool things and talk about, improved programs and updates and all this sort of stuff. I think that'd be awesome. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we constantly overhype shows, and this is just another excuse to overhype a show because it's like the 20 year and all that sort of stuff. But I think Microsoft's been so open lately that they're not often hiding a ton of stuff behind the scenes, and so I think we probably are just gonna be disappointed if we expect too much from it.
I mean, you definitely make a lot of sense, and obviously, we've heard Aaron Greenberg on the last couple of Xbox shows, specifically like Tokyo Game Show. I honestly pegged that as being a show that we were going to get something from Kojima, because obviously it's his home territory. What better place to bring something from Kojima than Tokyo Game Show? It turns out that it was a fairly good show. But they didn't have any, monstrous, hey, we just bought Square Enix and here's, I'm saying, nothing like that. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm always going to expect the greatest, and I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind being like, oh well, I was hoping for this, but I got this. Like you'd never hear me complain because at this point, I'm happy for any kind of news Xbox related. But you do make a lot of sense there.
Yeah, I mean, get excited for it. I mean, well, it only takes one cool thing to like be happy about a show, right? One reveal that you're really excited about to be happy about a show. It's just hard. Like Xbox has bought Bethesda, has done all these like monstrous things this year in the last 12 months or so. It's like we can't expect constant rollouts of these.
Yes, Joe. Like, yes, we can. It's never enough, Joe. Keep them coming.
There's only so many studios as big as Bethesda. They can't buy all of them.
Yeah, which ones, Joe? Which ones are bigger than
right?
Bethesda?
Like, wait. I mean, right? Are there any as big as Bethesda? Like, they could buy Sony, I guess. I mean, what else? Where else can they
Monopoly,
go?
Joe. We want Boardwalk. We want Park Place. We want New York. We want Tennessee. We want it all.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny because Joe's saying this, and in my mind, I hear Thanos. Hide from it. Destiny still always arrives, and
yeah, right. Yeah, they could buy Bungie again. I don't know.
Oh my goodness! Well,
but yeah, like it only takes a few, like I'm saying. So hopefully we get a little bit. We get some fun stuff, and I think I will enjoy the show if they have like 2 or 3 montages that remind us why Xbox has been such a great platform. Way more than I care that they show new trailers for stuff, I think. Because 20-year celebration is a celebration. It's not a what's next to me. So
yeah, I mean, and you know what? I do think you're onto something. I don't want us to forget why we're here. I think that's what you're saying about why we're celebrating the 20 years, because they got here, right? It doesn't happen very often. They jumped in and they went right for the deep end. Like they lost some money on the first box. They lost $1 billion on the next one with the Red Ring of Death. And they were able to come back and be the leader almost the entire campaign of the 360 PlayStation era. And then obviously 2013 happened. It wasn't great, but they wow, man, in 2017 when Phil took over, they were able to turn it around, and it's Microsoft's big ship, and they figured it out. They definitely figured it out. Let's get to Zemi Games. Zemi, look, you and me are on the same page. We want to see something from Avowed, potentially, maybe get a Fable trailer, an update. One of the things that we can say about Microsoft is that we really do know a lot of games that are in development. Now, there's also a significant amount of games that we don't know. And from what we hear, that's a ton of them. But I would kind of love to see an update for several titles. I don't want to see 12 titles there but I would love to see maybe an updated, thing with Fable. Get some information on Avowed. Get us, information on maybe a new Starfield something. Where do you fall on this? How big does XO21 need to be?
As always, and I fall in the same camp as Joe.
Tempered expectations.
Temper expectations, because I want everyone to be happy and watch the show and have a really great time. I don't want anyone to get upset because they didn't show 15 acquisitions and 27 new game reveals and all this magic. Temper expectations, right? I think that this show is going to happen. It's not confirmed. We haven't heard about it really yet, but I do think it's going to happen. It's the 20th anniversary. It's kind of like it's going to be a forehead smack moment if they don't do it, right?
Yes.
It makes no sense why they wouldn't. I would love to see, and this is going to sound so boring, but I would love to see them gather up, a few team members that have been there literally since the very beginning. If any,
like Samus Black being there would be kind of dope.
And have like a montage and have them like have little, snippets of what Xbox means to them, and then maybe transition over to the fans and what does Xbox mean to them, and then show off some like old games, that Xbox originally started with, like for instance Halo, right? And like show how like Xbox has transitioned over the years, and just really make it like this beautiful special montage that's built just for this occasion. I would love to see something like that. Of course, that's probably not going to take over the entire show. It would probably be somewhat disappointing if it did, if there was just an hour-long show of just that. I think it is definitely possible that we see some games or some updates of games, or maybe we might see a little trailer for Starfield. Maybe we might see another little teaser trailer for Fable. I'd love to see that. It's possible that they may show us one new reveal that maybe Compulsion Games had been working on or something, right? I don't think that we're going to get a whole lot in games. I think at least in new games. I think a lot of it is probably going to be updates. We might even see some maybe another CGI trailer for Halo's single player. They could possibly come out and
they need to show gameplay, dude. Like if you're gonna, I mean, come on, let's call a spade a spade here, folks.
Those story trailers, they look so good, bro.
Yeah, they don't need to do that. They just need to show me some gameplay, brother. And I think if they're gonna show it, and the game comes out on December 8th, which is only a couple of weeks after again, we don't know when the event's going to happen or if the event's going to happen. Man, it would be kind of dope to get about maybe a 3 to 5 minute gameplay trailer for the single player.
No, that would be good. And I think that they do need to show off gameplay of the single player. Like really, they really do. One thing I think that would be really, really cool though as well is that, if they announce that, hey, right after this event, the Halo Infinite beta is going to go up, right? Because we got flights, but we never got a beta, right? So I think that would also be, maybe even, kind of cool. And I hate to throw out the A word like this, but, realistically, Xbox has announced acquisitions at XO.
Now we're talking, Pop.
In Mexico City, they announced, Obsidian and In Exile, I believe, right?
Yes.
So don't throw that out of the woodworks, but don't expect it. You just know that it is
I'm
a
expecting it
possibility
now because of you. I'm expecting it.
I love when Zemi dips his toes into speculation town. I love this. This is
it back
nice.
out real quick though.
We're starting to rub off on him a little bit.
You know
here.
what, Pop? We have to cook up a good meal. That's how we're going to get him into speculation town. Nice big hot chicken or something. And
right. We'll have a dinner in his honor and bring him fully in.
Don't expect it, but it is possible. So, I think that they could, I hope that it's a great show. When it happens, if it happens, I think it will happen. And I look forward to it, right? 100%. But, at the same time, pulling back the strong expectations I've built up in everyone now. To Joe's point, there is a lot of shows that are going to be, coming up and E3 next year, it's going to be around the corner, in a blink of an eye. I'm sure they might possibly have some presence at the VGAs this year.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah,
there's a lot of shows, and Xbox has a lot of content, but they won't have as much content if they keep just showing it off at every single show. So I think that it's not going to be this huge E3 level event. It's going to be smaller, of course it is. We could possibly see an acquisition. It could happen. It probably won't. And hopefully, if nothing else, we get to see some more Halo. Maybe they get to announce the beta coming, so we all get to play it again. But I think regardless, it's going to be a really good show if it even happens.
I mean, listen, it's interesting. Pong, I immediately have to go to you because right now we're all ruined thanks to Zemi.
Yeah. I gave you what you want, and then I just took it away.
Yeah, it's terrible. You're a terrible friend. Real quick, I got to shout out MTF_Savage_Beasts in the chat. He says this: Titanfall 3 exclusive for Xbox and PC. Yes, please. Respawn, if you're listening. Come on, man. Stop playing with my emotions. I need Titanfall 3 in my life, and I don't want to hear otherwise. But Pong, listen, there's a lot that can happen at this show. I think Joe is actually onto something where if you talk about acquisitions, you might lose the focus of what we're here for, and that's to celebrate the 20 years. I honestly think that both Zemi and Joe are certainly onto something. And this is it is pretty incredible that they survived 20 years. They are positioning themselves to become the market leader. There's no doubt about it. Yes, Sony is currently the market leader now. I don't know how much longer that grasp holds on. I think that Microsoft is doing so many amazing things that Sony just can't counter them. And when you talk about first party, at this event, I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I want to be there celebrating the 20 years, I think they don't do themselves any favors if they don't show some sort of games, right?
Mhm.
The Xbox is a platform to play games on. We want to know what's going on. We have a good idea of what games are coming. We have been teased over the last couple of years. Halo Infinite is on the cusp of releasing. I would love to see a gameplay trailer from the single player, and I think that they can, in fact, do that. Where do you fall? What do you want at XO21?
Assuming this happens and whatever they're going to do, obviously they got to do something, right? So
Right.
for me, unlike Joe, I go into every show hyped and hoping that something happens. And again, I'm okay with it because, again, I've always said that if you're let down because you don't see, because you got yourself overhyped for something, hey, that's a you problem. That's not on them, right? So for me, I always do that. It's just my thing, and I don't get disappointed
I'm
if
right
I
there
don't
with
see
you.
something. So for me, if I was going to do this show, right, 20-year celebration, I would definitely talk about the past, where you came from, give you something for now, the present, and then obviously a glimpse into the future. That's the type of show when I hear something like a
I do like
20-year
that.
celebration.
That's a nice painted picture. Because
Yeah,
what you're
past,
doing
present,
is-
and future, right?
Yes.
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 And where we're going, right? But so there's a couple different things. Obviously, with the 20-year anniversary, with Halo's anniversary as well, the focus should be on the present, right? That should be the main bulk, right? And then you give a little bit of the past and a little bit of the future. That's how I look at this show. So first of all, starting off in the past, right? I think you give a good, a great look at where they came from, how they got to here in 2021. And then I think what we've heard too, as well as a possibility, which would be perfect, is you announce more backwards compatible titles, right? You bring that back again. You say, hey, we're starting to go back through the back catalogs again. Here's some original OG Xbox games. Here's some 360 games that we're bringing to backwards compatibility with all the, any of the upgrades and stuff that we've come to expect now at this point. But that seals your past, right? And you celebrate that and you say, we're never going to forget where we came from. We know a lot of you have been with us since the beginning or during some period of time in there. Here you go. Here's some more. And we're bringing back this program that we know a lot of you have been waiting on. And we're going to try to get more and more games in there as we can. And I think that wraps up your past. Then you really focus on the bulk of the show, which is the present. And you are celebrating the fact that at this point, Forza Horizon 5 will be out. And that you have Halo Infinite coming. And I think that you really focus on that, especially the Halo aspect, because it is Halo's anniversary as well. And I think that this is where I would expect that we see the single player campaign. This is where I would expect that we get a nice big blowout of what's coming to Halo Infinite, maybe even a glimpse at the roadmap they've kind of talked about. But I think you really celebrate Halo. That is your pillar. Master Chief is your icon. Master Chief is everything to this, and it looks like we're getting a return of the King and really something special in Halo Infinite. I've said it on this show. I've said it on other shows. I think Halo Infinite has a chance to be the best all-time Halo, and go down in history as such. And so I think you really focus on that. Give the fans everything they've been kind of waiting for. And like I said, show off that single player that we haven't seen, however you want to do it, whether you want to do like a 15-minute gameplay deal or whatever the case may be, but really show off what you guys have been working on for the past year or more since you decided to do that delay and how far it's come. And I think that would be a really great centerpiece to the show. And then as far as the future goes, you give a glimpse. Again, they've got plenty, like Joe was talking about, there's plenty of shows, but they do have so much content. Mav did a great breakdown on kind of the comments that Jez had made, that he thinks we've only seen 1/3 of the games currently being worked on, or somewhere around there. Mav did a great show on that, broke down how many potential games there are. Look, they've got so much content coming. They don't have to worry about holding everything anymore. They can break it up. So you just give a little piece. Now, we heard there were some games that may have been potentially ready for an E3 showing that they pulled back. We've got the Game Awards coming up. We know they're going to have a gigantic presence. So let's say you're going to do the Kojima announcement there, right? Let's say that's one of your big ones. Obviously, it makes the most sense if you have a deal with Kojima. You know, his buddy Keeley out there on stage.
You know
with
what?
him.
He's like Keeley is. Listen, I mean, honestly, it would be a combination for everyone to be a winner, right? Obviously, Jeff Keighley's Game Awards is a big deal. He's best friends, very, very good friends with Kojima. We know that a deal is done, right? The paperwork is signed. We don't know if it's one game that was rumored or a multitude of games, but we know that he's at least signed on with Xbox. If the first game goes through, well, I would imagine he's going to stay on. What better place than to make that announcement? You're right, 100%.
Right. So you do that there, and then it would only make sense that if you've got stuff for Hellblade ready, which we supposedly have. Look, you announced it there. You show it off again there, right?
Full circle.
At the game. Yep, full circle at the Game Awards. If that's what your plans are, do it. So what does that leave us with? Again, they're not going to be able. It's not going to be an Xbox show at the Game Awards. There's a lot of other people who are going to be buying into that and having space. So how much time do you have there to show off stuff? So the other one that we did here is Avowed. Now, we just got an article today during the show from Jez talking about details that he's seen in Avowed. He says that they're almost to the point of a fully playable version of it at this point. So
I didn't even see that article.
The article. You can throw it up. I retweeted it out too. So he talks about the details. So you've got Avowed that you could show off a small snippet of gameplay, right? We saw what we believe was gameplay at the end of the first peak that we got, but show off something and show us what the world's going to look like a little more. Again, not a full E3 presentation, nothing like that, not a blowout or anything like that. Just give us another piece of that Avowed. Give us gameplay, a solid, whatever it is, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of it, and give us a real good feel of what Obsidian's working on over there, because Avowed could be the next big Western RPG. A lot of people don't know still to this day that it's based on the Pillars of Eternity world. The Pillars of Eternity was a top-down, more tactile strategy kind of RPG. So again, very niche. They are now bringing it to first person. They are giving it the Elder Scrolls kind of look and feel, or Outer Worlds, if you want to say, look and feel. Since Obsidian did that as well, and Jez kind of correlates those two together in his article. So give everybody a glimpse of what could be the next big thing in the future of Xbox. The dark horse, of course, is Fable, a beloved franchise that has been gone for a long time. Playground is going to have Forza Horizon 5 released. The hype is going to be all out there for Forza Horizon. But guess what? There would be nothing better than to celebrate the 20 years of Xbox with another one of your staples, right? Yep. Another one of your most well-known franchises that has been dormant for too long and is now getting a big AAA return from a studio that is beloved at this point. From everything we've seen, they are ready to take that next step. They're going to break out of they're just a racing dev. They're going to break into the world of something completely different, and they are handling one of your biggest franchises. So why not give us, if they are ready, if it is something they give us a snippet of, Fable at the 20-year anniversary would be a fantastic way to wrap it up. I think that's what I would do. Acquisition-wise, look, I'm glad Zemi went there. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I just think an acquisition announcement, I mean, I guess there's a couple that could probably kind of fit the boat if if to not take away the shine from the 20th anniversary, because obviously acquisitions, anytime an acquisition happens, that's all people talk about, and you really don't want to take the
Yes.
spotlight away from what you're trying to do. I guess like an Asobo acquisition or something like that kind of is expected, or a studio that you've worked with for a very long time, like Asobo, that just kind of give people, hey, by the way, we're making this partnership permanent. We're putting a ring on it. So Asobo's joining the family, right? That wouldn't be like, Asobo's big for all of us because we understand what Asobo means and how great they are. But again, the name recognition of Asobo isn't so huge that it's going to steal the spotlight. So I think a smaller acquisition like that, or partnership, maybe some other smaller partnership they've got going on, wouldn't be a bad thing to throw in there at all, of course. I mean, again, co-mayor of Speculation Town, I'd love it. It would be fantastic. But I do think that they're going to really focus. I would not expect an acquisition here. Any acquisition talk, maybe save for, they might have one at the Video Game Awards as well, to throw that out there. But I just think that you keep the focus on the 20-year history and really maintain that spotlight there instead of, kind of muddling it. Or again, it's just the way people talk. Acquisitions are the biggest thing, right? So it's the most fun thing to talk about. I just don't want to steal the shine from what I'm trying to show off. So
yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And I just pulled that article from Jez Gordon regarding
fantastic article.
And folks, you know what? We don't have time on this show. The show's almost over. We got a few more opinions to get. I am going to tell you this, tune in Friday morning for the new episode of Breakfast with Boom. We are going to lead that show off with this avowed information. As soon as I'm done with this show, I'm going to head over and start writing that show immediately. That's going to be the lead topic because, Avowed is going to be one of those big RPG games from a developer that we all know and love. And they are first party. And that is going to be one of those AAA bangers, as the kids like to call it. Joe, I'm sorry for that. But listen, let's get Mav, let's bring you into the conversation because Pong said you had put together, and he's correct in saying so, a good idea of what Microsoft is working on. And there is a lot that we don't know. One of the games that I am very interested into finding out what it is from the team that brought us We Happy Few. Right now, during an interview with Phil Spencer back last year, he was specifically asked, what game are you most excited for that the public has not seen and doesn't know about? And he said, listen, let me give you two. And the second one was Perfect Dark. But the first one from Phil Spencer's mouth was at the team that brought us We Happy Few. And according to several reports, the game that they're working on, Mav, is a combination of BioShock meets Uncharted with a little hint of horror. So it's going to be a third-person over-the-shoulder game, which a lot of Xbox gamers have been asking for. I would love to see this potentially at Jeff's show or even this show. But what are you expecting at XO21?
I expect a lot of what you guys said. I expect a lot of what Pong said, what Zimmy said. It makes a lot of sense, and I try and temper my expectations like Joe wants me to. And
I can't do it. I won't do it, Joe. And
but let me give you a reason why. Okay, I will temper my expectations a little bit with the acquisition side. And I can't believe Zimmy's going there. Of all people, Zimmy, come on.
Okay,
shame on you,
Zimmy.
Before,
Well,
it's history. It happened in 2018. I'm just saying.
No,
Zemi is hanging out with Pong Soul and me a little too much, I think.
they did
come over to the
announce,
dark
like,
side. Come on over.
I think it was like 4 acquisitions or something before at XO18.
Yeah, it was E3 2018. As a matter of fact, it was 4 acquisitions and the creation of the initiative.
Right, so they had some at XO and they had some at E3. At 18 and 19. I can't remember which ones were which and all that stuff, but they did announce things before at XO for sure. Because I went back and researched this or last month, I think, when I was putting something together and trying to figure out when they announced some things and stuff. And XO is either XO18 or XO19. They announced a couple of them. Now that because they did it before, it wouldn't surprise me if they did that. But I'm going to focus on the games, right? Because I think the number one thing we're going to get out of this is the Halo Infinite campaign stuff that we've all been waiting for, right? This is the Halo 20th anniversary. It's also Xbox's 20th anniversary. You're going to have a look back. It just lines up right. The game's going to be coming out a few weeks after that, to be able to have a good showing for the Halo Infinite campaign and let everybody see it, right? Because that's what we've all been waiting for. So that just makes sense, right? Halo Infinite campaign, big lead up to it. Let's get that out of the way. But to end the show, and the reason I think that it's not too crazy to think we could get a couple of game announcements or get a couple of updates on existing games or whatever, because we talked about that Xbox was going to have a problem on their hands with the amount of projects they have figuring out when to show everything. Because they have so many studios now and so many projects in the works. And when I did that thing the other day when I was putting that together, and combining it with the stuff that like Jess Corden said, and also the stuff that we know about that has been actually announced projects in the works, and then we also have the announced named projects that are 100% confirmed what they are. You add everything up, and it's crazy the amount of games, and it has surpassed my expectations actually of what my expectations are for the regular releases from Xbox Game Studios. We're going to be getting more than that game a quarter, I think.
I agree.
I think we're going to be getting closer to a game a month.
Yeah.
Based on the amount of projects they have in the works. And this is just stuff that we know they currently have in the works, actually, projects. Okay. And if you go 4 or 5 years out and say that an average of these games are going to come within 4 or 5 years, you're still looking at about 10 releases per year. Right. And that's being modest. That's being moderate.
And that's
on
not
this.
even counting second party deals.
It's not that's including the Microsoft publishing deals, but it's not including the exclusivity deals for Game Pass. It's not including third party deals for timed exclusivity. That's not including anything like that. And it's actually absolutely astounding. So when you think about that aspect, how many things they have to announce, we only got a couple of new game announcements at E3, right?
Yeah.
We have the Game Awards this year, and we have XO. They can't fill the Game Awards full of announcements for Xbox because there's other people there, right?
Right.
So
Mhm.
you're saying at most maybe 2 new games potentially if we're really lucky and get excited. That's
Well,
what stuff that's
I put
sitting out
to
there.
that point. Yeah, to that point, Mav, you make up a great point because if we do get 2 reveals and a Kojima announcement, that I think is the show, right?
Oh yeah, and they've proven that they're willing to go big at the Game Awards. I mean, they revealed the console there; it has a huge audience. They're trying to attract people to Xbox, right? And so you're reaching a PlayStation audience, you're reaching a Nintendo audience, you're reaching a PC gaming audience by having some big reveals at the Game Awards, right? So you're going to say, "Hey, look, this is what Xbox is doing. We're going big here. Come on and check out Game Pass because all this stuff's on Game Pass." But to celebrate the 20th anniversary of an Xbox and Halo, I think they do give that glimpse into the future and at least give us 1 or 2 new game announcements. Because they have so many to announce. And I don't know, like they can't if you really do the math on how many they have coming, it's like they got to show them at some point, right? So that may be why we only got a couple of the new game announcements at E3 from first party. We're maybe going to get spread out over time, different events. We talked about that when after they acquired ZeniMax Bethesda. I remember on Xbox Ultimate, me and Pong and 3 were like, how are they going to figure out how to reveal everything? That like the shows are going to be a problem. They're going to have to figure out a new way of doing things because there's just going to be too much, and you can't have one big show that's going to have encompass everything that they're working on anymore. They can't just rely on E3. So these other things are going to be opportunities for them to be able to have more announcements. So I'm not saying they're going to go like balls to the wall and announce like their whole lineup for like the next 10 years. But I wouldn't be surprised if they
I wish they
announced like
would.
1 or 2 new games. Oh man, I wish I would too. Dude. That would be so juicy. We'd have so much to talk. But the one thing is we wouldn't have much to talk about for for long after that, right?
Oh, we'd string it out.
Yeah.
I like having
game
things to look
announcements.
forward
We'll see.
to.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we haven't seen any more of State of Decay 3. We got Avowed, we got Hellblade 2, we don't know 100% what Project Mara is. You know, you got the In Exile game, you got the Initiative supposedly be working on a second project as well. The Coalition, we know they haven't announced anything. We don't even know what it's working on. Machine Games supposedly has 2 projects in the works. One of them made Wolfenstein 3. The other one is Indiana Jones. Ghostwire Tokyo, they just said that they're working on another project at Tokyo Game Show that's led by the Evil Within 2 director. Roundhouse Studios is working on an unannounced game. Alpha Dog Studios is working on something. We don't know what they're doing. I know they're working on one mobile thing that I forget the name of it, but beyond that, they did say before at the Bethesda Xbox Celebration show when they announced, "Hey, we're together now," that Alpha Dog was working on something. We got the ZeniMax Online second MMO style game that they're working on. We got the Project Indus. There's all these different things that we know about that exist. There's the IO game that they haven't announced yet. So hey, it's stuff's coming. When are we going to see it? Maybe XO21. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, well, and we can only speculate on that for sure. Let's get Boxenberger's opinion. You know, obviously, you've done some videos of you know, big upcoming games. Microsoft has not tipped their hand on several of the development games that are currently of their 36 plus studios. Teams that are working within the 23 studios. What are you expecting at this event? Do they need to bring it big?
Oh yeah. Well, do they need to bring it big? Sure, but the question is, what is big for a 20th anniversary celebration? And I'm kind of here with Pong. I think we should think about this 20th anniversary celebration as kind of the moment where they will take the opportunity to look back at their history and what made them great and what led them to where they are today and stuff like that. And I've said it multiple times in my videos as well that I expect them, for instance, to announce a lot of back compat related stuff, because that is the best way to celebrate the past 20 years. And that's what this anniversary celebration in the middle of November will be. And I think also Pong said it is the perfect opportunity to bring out the Master Chief in action. Halo launched with the original console. Also, Halo is celebrating their 20th anniversary, and it's 3 weeks prior to the launch of the latest Halo game, and that's the perfect time to show off the campaign. So that's what I expect. A lot of talk about the past, and then we will probably see Halo Infinite's campaign for the first time. I've seen a lot of people talk about, oh, that's way too late, that's way too late. But the truth is, in these days and ages, hype dies really quickly. How long has it been since the Halo Infinite beta? Only 1 week. And I've seen 0 posts over the last 3 days on Twitter about Halo Infinite. Hype dies so quickly, and you want to have the hype at the maximum when the game comes out. And so I really don't think that 3 weeks prior to the launch of Halo Infinite is too late to show the first time the campaign. So yeah, that's what I think that they will do. And then what about the future? I don't think they will make major announcements regarding, for instance, acquisitions or new game announcements, because they have already laid out their roadmap so well, and they will probably remind us of that roadmap. They have announced 20 first-party games coming from their Xbox portfolio or Xbox Studios. It's 20 games in the making that they have announced already. So there's really no need for them to announce the 21st or 22nd game. And I think that they will use that celebration more to just remind us, look, this was the road that led us to where we are, and this is what's to come. And with that, they will probably end with a great montage or something like that. This is what I could imagine. But a lot of people brought up the Game Awards, and I have in my head an interview with Aaron Greenberg that was, I would love to say, like a year ago, where he and Matt Booty talked about the way how Microsoft thinks about the different gaming shows and what to announce at which gaming show. And they talked about like E3. E3 is the showcase that is perfect for the games that will come out till the next E3. So over the course of the next 12 months, Gamescom is typically the show where you give people the hands-on experience and really show what is coming in the big fall season more in detail, give the press, the media, first time the hands-on. That's what this show is all about. And then they talked also about the Game Awards, and they said the Game Awards is the perfect event at the end of the year to announce stuff that is a little bit further down the line. So when we talk and when we look at what they did over the course of the last years, with of course the announcement of the Xbox Series X, which is still mind-blowing if you can think about it, that they announced at the Game Awards a new console that wasn't out for another year. That is really a long time in advance to announce a console, because obviously it hinders your sales numbers of the current console that you actually want to sell at the Christmas for the Christmas days. Yeah, so that was really surprising. They also announced Hellblade 2, obviously years out. Then the year after, they announced, for instance, Perfect Dark. Yeah, also years out. And so this is what I expect at the Game Awards this year. If they announce another major first-party game, then it's going to be at the Game Awards, and we know that they are present there, and I expect 1 or 2 really major games from their first-party portfolio coming there. Maybe, just maybe, if there is an acquisition in the room, then that's the perfect time to announce it. But I doubt that. I think they will focus now more on the games, and that's where I see another or 2 major announcements. And for the anniversary celebrations, we will get a lot of talk about back compat stuff and probably a little bit of Game Pass, and of course Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds perfect. 3-bit, before I get everyone out of here and read these last super chats, let's get your opinion as an artist, and that's what you are as well. How does Microsoft need to paint this picture? How do they celebrate the 20th anniversary of both Halo and the actual platform? Do it in a way where everyone's excited, but also keep people's attention by potentially announcing some new stuff.
Yeah, I think everyone here made great points. I think if you're going to make a show that's about a celebration, you're looking at the past, the present, the future. The past would essentially be the consoles they've released before, and what their vision is going forward with Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer is he's very much a visionary in a lot of ways, in my opinion, and how Game Pass is like becoming a thing. And the previous topic that we talked about with Game Pass, it's all new, and they have a lot of studios, and like Matt was saying, that can be a problem in some ways. How do you announce these things? When is the best time to show off these things? It's a good problem to have, actually. But I essentially think if you're going to have a 20-year celebration, you have to show Halo. That is a big part of the Xbox brand. It's the reason why they keep showing Halo in a lot of their bigger advertisements and such like that. So Halo, showing that off. I do know there's another Halo in production. That's what I want to know about. Like, are they going to show off the other Halo that they're working on besides Infinite? Maybe that will be at the showcase. Maybe they will show off some little game announcements. I'm not sure about the acquisitions. I think based on their history, they will show some acquisitions. I just don't know who. I don't know who it could be. I've been speculating with Mab and Pong consistently on who it could be. But I do think this is very much about the history of the studio, like what like how they've made it throughout these 20 years. A lot of people look at Xbox as sort of the new guy sometimes. They're like, oh, that's just Xbox on the side, but they've been around more. So I think it's more about that. I think we will get some game announcements here and there, maybe show off some campaign of Halo, maybe there's a lot we haven't seen of Infinite, so they could show off a catalog and library of things with Infinite if they wanted to. But yeah, time will tell what they can show. They have a lot of different studios that we don't know about. Compulsion, whatever it is they are working on, in Exile, right? And they own Minecraft. They could show literally
can't forget
anything
that.
they want. So yeah, looking forward to the event though.
Yeah, and I hope that they announce it sooner than later. Obviously, we are already through a third of October. November is going to be here before you know it, and I would love to get some sort of information on what kind of event they're going to have, when they're going to have it. I mean, again, the November 15th happens to fall on a Monday, which we're doing a very special primetime gaming episode. I have an incredible lineup of people that are going to be coming through from everyone that a lot of favorites of the community are going to be dropping by to kind of give their thoughts of 20 years of Xbox. We're going to do it up right for you on primetime gaming. But folks, this has been a great 2-hour program. I want to thank, of course, Joe for taking the time to be here. And, of course, our good friend, the Xbox Pope. Let me just catch up on some of these super chats, and we'll get everyone's outro. Going back a bit, Raiden Blade drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, if Microsoft buys TNT, lock, stock, and barrel, which includes the movie studios, make a deal with Netflix to bring movies and games to the service. I mean, they're probably thinking about this for sure. I don't know if TNT would be the move. I would love to see them get WB and potentially just get own. I don't know if does Microsoft want ownership of DC. I don't know. I think that's a hefty proposition. I don't know if they would want that, to be honest. But I would love to see them get WB. I'd love to see the next Mortal Kombat be exclusive. Mortal Kombat 12 be exclusive to Xbox. And again, as we don't know if that's ever going to happen, but only time is going to tell. We have Beaner drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, great show. Off topic. What is your own personal ghost creepy story you've experienced? The whole panel, a possible great work. Well, listen, Beaner, unfortunately, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the question and I'm going to move that forward to one of the closer shows to Halloween, because I actually have a really good one. But yeah, we'll definitely thank you for the super chat and thank you for listening to the show. Brian Hopkins drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, keep up the great work. Keep up the great show, guys. Thank you for the show. Well, thank you, brother. We also have another one coming in here from Raiden Blade, drops an additional £5 super chat and says, what I see is VGA Xbox announcement, and then at the VGA, you say you join us in 2 days to continue to celebrate the 20th birthday and more announcements at XO21. That's interesting. You use one platform, but that's all the way in December. So I don't know. I think it would, in my opinion, would be a mistake. Like if they, I think he might have had it backwards. I think maybe I read it backwards. I think maybe if they do have their own XO event, and they end it with, hey, listen, join us again in December for the VGAs, because we have a couple more announcements that we want to share with the community that we think people are going to get excited for. That keeps the hype train rolling. I think Microsoft should close out the year on a bit, big on both of these shows, because that momentum will push them forward into the next year. I'd love to see it, but let's get to the outros. And Joe, we'll start with you, brother. Finally, you're just sitting back. You're enjoying the fruits of the long labor that was Song of Iron. You're actually playing games. Tell everyone where they could reach out to you and strike up a conversation. What else you got going on?
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me. It's always fun to be on the show. You can always hit me up on Twitter. That's the spot I'm most active on and will be the quickest to respond to if you want to hit me up. But yeah, check the game out. I've been relaxing and playing 12 minutes recently and trying to catch up on all the other indies sort of in the same bucket as Song and show my support back towards them. And
Nice.
And trying to get off the computer a little bit too. So I've been beefing up my home gym and stuff like that, trying to get healthy again after endlessly sitting at this chair for a year. But yeah, it's been good. So
Well, Joe, it's always great to hang out with you. We're definitely going to bring you back, no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
And can't wait to hear behind the scenes what you're working on. And obviously, like I said earlier, we will help promote the heck out of that once you are ready to talk about it. But like I said, I think you should take the rest of the year off and just enjoy the holidays. It is well deserved. Song of Iron, if you have not gotten it, folks, what the hell are you waiting for? It's a fantastic game from start to finish. I've beaten it multiple times, and I think you're going to dig it for sure. Zemi Games, why don't you tell us about constantgamer.com? Where can people reach out to you, strike up a conversation, and what else you got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So Constant Gamer is my YouTube channel. I post gaming news, a few theory videos, some let's plays, just a bunch of gaming content over on that channel. So if that's your thing, definitely jump over there, watch a video. If you like it, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, then thanks for showing up. And I guess, you don't have to do anything. But definitely check it out. It's, I've been on there for a while, have 20,000 subs now. And I think it's a pretty good channel, and I think the content's pretty good. So, give it a try. And once again, that's Constant Gamer. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at Zimmy Games. And here recently, I've been playing a lot of Far Cry. So I've been posting some beautiful screenshots of the game. Absolutely love it. But I also post, if I find an article, a gaming related article that I really, really like, I'll, usually post it and tweet about it and so on and so forth. My DMs are also always open. So if you, heard something on today's show that I said that you liked, or maybe something that I said that you didn't like, always feel free to reach out, let me know. I love talking to you guys in the community and everything like that. Once again, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Zimmy Games. Boom. Fantastic show as always, man. Super excited to be here talking about the possibilities of XO and price increases. And I look forward to next week, man. Next Tuesday.
Yeah, well, I'll see you on in a few minutes because we're going to get down with some Far Cry 6,
Yes,
folks. But listen, let's go to Pong Soul. Pong, thanks so much for being here. As always, you're a major part of this Tuesday show, and obviously we have now dissolved the Thursday show to give me a little bit of a break. It allows me to actually play games, which is kind of fun. But I'm not going to, and like I said, I'm not going to say that we're not going to bring back a Thursday show potentially next year. I'm working on some ideas on what I could do, but I definitely wanted to take the rest of the year off and just do the 3 shows. But you're a part of this one, and we love it. Pong, tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, tell them about Living Split Screen, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday mornings.
Absolutely. Boom. Man, what a show. Honored to be here again. Always, Joe. You are such an awesome, awesome dude, man. Love what you did with the game. Can't wait to see more from you, but enjoy some time off, brother. You have earned every minute of it. I promise you have, man. It's great. And anybody who hasn't checked out Song of Iron yet, please go do so. It is a fantastic game. Otherwise, it was an honor to be here. I'm with Pope. I know he had to go, but I've been watching him again for a long time on Twitter, post all of his beautiful creations. And of course, having 3-Bit back in the building is something absolutely fantastic. Brother, missed you a lot. Yes, we get to talk behind the scenes. Yes, we get to be in chats together, but it's not the same as being on a panel with you. So great to have you back again, sir, obviously. So, and of course, Mav, Zemi, Archimedes, Boom, brothers, Tuesdays doesn't get any better than this. Chat, you guys were outrageous today. Super chats flying in. Lots of good conversation in there. Lots of good talk. Thank you all for being here. You always are phenomenal, and nothing but love and respect to all of you. Find me Pong Soul on Xbox. Find me Pong Soul on Twitter. You know the drill there. Obviously, coming up on Friday, Xbox Ultimate. I'll let Mav handle all the hype for that, but obviously Xbox Ultimate with the Magnificent 7 on Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Saturday mornings, like Boom was talking about, look, living split screen. Split screen is all one word. Come see my brother from another, Steel Rain and I. You could have caught us last night. We did a little crossover on Fun's channel and did some Back for Blood. But look, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. We wake you up in the morning, 3 p.m. UK time. Hey, afternoons over in the UK, come check us out. It's a fun time. We just talk and talk live, raw, and uncut, as Steele likes to say. Just come by, check us out. Nothing but high energy, just good talk across the entire scope of the industry. So check us out there, Living Split Screen. Sunday nights, Saturday nights, Saturday nights, Shop Podcast, PTK, Blam, Centurion, Fuzzy Belvedere, and myself. Come check us out there, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Fantastic show. PTK deserves bigger crowds. Come check us out. It's just a great, fun show. We talk, again, across the entire industry. It's a shorter show, hour and a half, but come find us there on the Shop Podcast. And then, of course, I will be back here next Tuesday on the Xbox Factor podcast as well. And hey, listen up. Keep your eye out. I'll let Mav do a little bit more too, but keep your eye out. Thursdays might get a little interesting. So in the PM. So just check that out. Watch myself, our Twitter, my Twitter, Mav's Twitter. There might be an announcement soon. So things might get interesting in the PM. So anyways, golden age of gaming is here, gamers. Play what you love what you play. Enjoy all of this incredible gaming that we got going on. There is so much to do and play. It's insane, and it's only gonna get worse. But I say worse in the nicest way possible. It's gonna be the best. So get out there, enjoy it. Love you all, and we'll talk to you soon.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for being here, brother. And next up, Mav, thank you so much for returning and joining the panel, brother. Tell everyone about your Friday show, the Ultimate Xbox Podcast with the Magnificent 7. Talk about Fun Pop. And you also have a third show with a new cast of characters that you launched just the other week. I believe it's on Saturdays. Talk about that. And where can people reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media?
Yeah, Boom. This is always a blast. I strive to be like Boom, just growing the channel. I gotta have multiple shows. Gotta have something to do every night. You know what I mean? It's just fun. Love doing this stuff. Love talking games. I always have. Now we get to do it with people who hop in and say hello, right? So it's absolutely awesome. But yeah, we got Friday nights is Xbox Ultimate Podcast with the Magnificent 7. We also have Saturdays is FSP. We got Key, Phasma, and Fuzzy Belvedere over there. We also have Fun Pop on Wednesdays, which is Marvel, DC comic books and more. That's with Jasper and Psychonauts. And then, yes, maybe there's something happening on Thursday, like this new thing. Like, is it a 4-show channel now? Maybe. Maybe check out Twitter. Follow Fun Speculation, where you can get all the channel updates and all the news on all the shows and stuff that we have on that channel. And you're going to see an announcement pretty soon. Maybe today. So,
looking forward to it. That's for sure.
Look forward to it, guys.
Yeah, well, listen, thank you for being here. And we're looking forward to that new announcement. You do great work. You're a positive member of the community, and we certainly need folks like that. Box and Burger. This is your second time on the permanent Tuesday edition. Thank you so much for joining the panel. We definitely appreciate the opinions. Do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone what they can help push you to 5,000 subs on your YouTube channel. And more importantly, where could people reach out and strike up a conversation on social media?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Boom, for having me. It was an awesome show. So much to talk about, and so many awesome guests here. Joe, it's always a pleasure to meet you. Of course, 3-Bit, I'm super happy to be on a show with you again, and I'm not just on a Halo match where I always lose. And then, of course, Pong, Math, Semi, it's always a pleasure here. And of course, with the fantastic chat, it's been a blast. And people can find me, basically everywhere under Boxenberger. Boom, as you mentioned, I have a small YouTube channel, hopefully closing in on 5,000 subs soon. Where I do cover, certain topics of the gaming industry. Sometimes I do reviews, sometimes I do tech talk, sometimes I do news. Depends on what is going on in the gaming world. And yeah, like you said, hopefully I'll close in on the 5,000 subs. Still ways to go, but yeah, I'm working on it. So I can't wait to be back next week. And yeah, have a good one, everyone.
Thank you so much. And last and no way least, the best looking dude on the panel, 3-Bit. What's up, brother? Thank you so much for coming back, hanging out with us each and every week. Tell everyone where they can check out your YouTube channel, potentially strike up a conversation, and what else can you talk about that you got going on?
Yeah, nothing but love and respect to everyone on this panel. Felt good to podcast for a bit again. I've been just overloaded these past few weeks with different projects, and I can
Splinter
say,
Cell.
Yes, you heard it here first.
some
Xbox exclusive.
No, I've been doing some of the UI work that you guys actually see on Far Cry 6, which was good. It was a fun game to work on.
That's so awesome.
Working
brother.
on
God, I love it.
I didn't even play it yet. I want to play it tonight if I can. Working on a music video. So if you want to see some animation content, then you guys can follow my Twitter at i3bit. You can see me on this show and Xbox Ultimate on Fridays. It's been a pleasure being on this panel again with Archimedes. It's been some time, and Joe, always awesome being surrounded by other devs and getting your insight as well. Other than that, my YouTube channel is The Video Games HD, and I will see you guys next show.
Yeah, thanks so much, brother. Can't wait to get you back here. And the last 2 super chats came in from Raiden Blade. He shows his generosity once again with an additional £2 super chat and says, "Boom, 3 announcements." Yeah, I hope so. I agree. I would love to see it. And Dusty drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "I got Song of Iron because of you, Boom. Loving it. Great recommendation." Well, thank you very much. And yes, that's another checkbox for Joe. It is a great game. It is really well done. It's a passion project, and I think the story behind it is even more incredible. Definitely check out Song of Iron on multiple platforms, including Xbox and PC. Definitely support him. But listen, folks, thank you so much for the incredible super chats. Thank you for the near 300 people. I think we had actually over 300 people here today. Definitely appreciate it. If you're new, please consider subscribing. Help me get past 9K. Hopefully before the end of the day. That would be really cool. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, "Son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day." So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast.